School, brought to you by Multiplying Talents. My name is Aretha Simons, and I'm so glad to be here with you today because this is one of my most favorite things to do, and that is sharing everything that I have learned over the past 20 years in the nonprofit and grant writing world. Today, we're going to be talking about what is a grant. I get so many calls from people saying, I need a grant for this and I need a grant for that. And when I ask them if they have a grant proposal written that I could kind of flow from, 99% of the time, they don't. So we're going to discuss what is a grant. And then we're going to talk about what is a grant proposal. Your grant proposal is like your baby or your child because it's something that will be a part of you throughout your entire life cycle of your nonprofit. Then it'll be your turn to ask questions, get some answers to the questions you ask, you want to know about. This is a great time to find out those questions that you've been thinking about asking a professional grant writer. And a lot of times you'll hear questions asked from other people that you may have wanted to ask yourself. And it's like, oh, I wanted to ask that question and now I don't have to ask. So let's just get right into it. So what is a grant? A grant is defined as an award in the nonprofit world. But I want you to think of your grant as a tool for your nonprofit to use to address issues that's important to you and your community. Usually, you don't have to pay back a grant. However, there are cases like the SBA grants, and then there are other grants out there that you should definitely read the fine print on when you're applying. But what I want you to think about a grant as a grant is simply a gift. And sometimes that gift comes in the form of money, which I know we all want. And sometimes it comes in the form of in-kind gifts. Some of the examples of in-kind gifts could be services, it could be office space, it could be land, it could be furniture, and even training. So let's talk about what a grant is not. A grant is not just a written document that we just submit to potential funders. Generally, their awards, grants are awarded after you submit a written proposal, hence the name grant proposal. So let's discuss what a grant proposal is. Most nonprofits think of a grant proposal as a request for money. And a grant proposal, again, is not just a request for money. What it is something much more than that. To a funder, a grant is an investment in positive change. And what do all investors want? An investor always want a return on their investment. So an investor thinks of their money as seed that they plant in you in exchange for you to make an impact on issues that you both care about. So I want you to take a look at a grant proposal as a two-way call to action. The funder has given you a call to action by releasing a request for proposal. That's also known as a RFP. And then you're asking the funder to join you in creating change through a well-written story using facts and demographics from your community. Now, you're going to use your words to paint a picture for the funder. And I want you to keep it real now. So write down realistic possibilities and then tell the funder exactly how you'll spend their money or their investment. Never ever tell them that you're going to end homelessness. Tell them how many people you'll help find a permanent home to live in. Because remember, the point of the grant award is not just about the money, it's a tool to help you address those important issues within your community. So I always tell people to be ready to be ready. Now, what do I mean by that? If you've ever written a grant proposal, or if you've never written a grant proposal, let's say that, and the opportunity comes for you to submit a proposal, but you only have 10 days before the deadline, then you may miss out on some details if you're not grant ready. Or if you plan to hire a grant writer, you should be ready to give that grant writer something to flow from because they usually get paid by the hour. And remember, you're trying to get money, not spend more money. So, it takes money to make money. So, you want to be ready to be ready. And remember, a grant is not something that can be cooked like minute rice. It requires careful thought and planning. So, the better you plan on the front end, the greater the likelihood that your program would be successful, not just in obtaining the grant, but in making a difference in the life of others. And that's really what it's all about, right? So let me do a recap. A grant is simply a gift. Sometimes a gift comes in form of money or in-kind gifts. If you want to be successful in the grant writing world, always talk about your nonprofit in the community. Share your testimonies or your stories of how great your nonprofit is doing, or even areas where you need help. Share your information from your proposal. Pull some power paragraphs or pull some power words or some power sentences. This is a great way to get more money by sharing on social media. You can also have opportunities for more in-kind donations. And what's really important is volunteers that can help you accomplish your mission. Now, what is a grant proposal? Again, a grant proposal is a call to action. You're going to use your words to paint a picture in writing for the funder to invest in your organization and join you in creating change in your community. The last thing I want to do is answer some questions for you, but what I want you to do is visit grantwritingschool.org. You can download a 3-page sample grant proposal application. If you've never completed a grant proposal application, download it and use it. Take advantage and use it as a guide to help you with future grants. So now I'm going to open up the floor for questions.
I have a question.
Okay. Can you state your name
Okay.
and where you're from?
My name is Adele Forster Glenn, and I'm from Plano, Texas.
Okay, great.
And my question to you is you mentioned about social media.
Mhm.
So when you mentioned social media, what did you mean by on social media? Did you mean finding grants on social media, like requests for proposals, or just putting on social media that I'm looking for a grant?
That is a great question. So you wouldn't put on social media, quote unquote, I'm looking for a grant, but you would take some elements or some power words or some power paragraph or a testimony from your grant proposal to put on social media. For example, you say, hey, we just fed I'm just going to say 5,000 people, and this Friday we're going to feed another 5,000, but we need your help. Here's our wish list. Here's the things we need. We need 5,000 pounds of rice. We need XYZ. So those are the things you want to put on social media because number one, it's going to let people know what you do. It's going to tell people about your baby. Remember, your grant is like your baby. And then it's going to
Mm-hmm.
maybe get some more volunteers for you, or maybe have people do in-kind donations if they're not doing monetary donations. So that's what I meant by sharing it on social media. That's a great question.
Okay, perfect. Now that clears up some things for me because as you post on social media about what you do, um, so basically with your, and I don't mean to take up if
Oh no,
anybody else
please.
has
This is
questions.
about you.
Um,
Go ahead.
so if, um, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so by posting on social media, um, should it be best that you have a page that's strictly for your nonprofit organization?
I think you should have a page strictly for your nonprofit organizations because people who are going to give you money, like funders, whenever you do apply for a grant,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to ask you what your website is and they're going to look for you on social media. So when they go to that page, they want to see, you at your birthday party. They want to see you in action in the community. So you should definitely have a page just for your nonprofit. Now, if you do have a separate page for your personal self, you should also be posting on that page too. but you should definitely have a separate page for your nonprofit.
Okay. And then I know this. I know you're talking about um, grants and what have you, but I wanted to ask a question about crowdfunding.
Okay, great.
Um, would you say that would be a great tool to raise money for your nonprofit organization?
I think it's an excellent tool for raising money because you want to do everything that you can to raise money, and crowdfunding is an excellent tool. That's why crowdfunding was birthed, because they knew that you can reach a lot of people at one time through social media using crowdfunding. So yes, that's another tool to use.
Okay.
Uh,
That's all my questions.
Okay, great. Those were excellent questions. And this is not just about grant writing. This is about anything with your nonprofit. Because what I want you to do when you start your nonprofit, my job is to help you start, grow, and maintain it. And the grant writing school was just birthed out of, helping people learn about writing grants so they can be ready for grants. There's a lot of people, they say they want one, but they're not ready. So that's why I always say be ready to be ready to be ready. And that's what we have to do. Anybody else have a
Yeah,
question?
well, I do.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Good morning. Excuse me.
Okay, I'm sorry, Adele.
Sure, good morning.
Just one moment.
No,
Adele was
let that person go ahead.
okay. Are you sure? Because I don't want you to forget your thought.
No, no, that's okay. I'll write it down.
Okay. Caller in 1579. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Sharetta from Cleveland,
Oh,
Ohio.
Sharetta, how are you?
Hello, I'm well in yourself.
Great, great. Everyone, Sharetta is one of the certified nonprofit consultants. If you go to my website, Multiplying Talents, she is one of the people that trained under me many, many years ago, and she's excellent. But she does other things too. So, Sharetta, I definitely want you to share the other things that you do, and also I wanted to answer your question if you have a question.
Yes, my question is about being a fiscal agent. When you are a fiscal agent for an organization, what are the fiscal agent's financial responsibilities?
As far as maintaining the grants, because you got the 501c3 part and then you got the grant part. So which part?
The 501c3 part.
So usually that's a person that's going to answer questions on behalf of the nonprofit. Once they get set up, there's usually not any more questions that's asked by the IRS unless they get audited. So that person is kind of like their legal representation for that nonprofit.
Mhm. Okay, and are there any risks in being an organization's fiscal agent after you sign, if you decide to sign the funds directly over to that organization?
That's a gray area because it just depends on what's going on. I mean, there's risk in everything, and that's why you should have indemnification clauses in your bylaws, and you should have board insurance for your nonprofit board members and people who are involved in your organization. So that's a kind of gray area because it depends on if it's a large organization. Of course, they're going to have some insurance, they're going to have some protection, but usually small nonprofits, they're not thinking about those things. But you asked that great question, so that's something everybody should be thinking about as they grow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sharetta, do you why don't you share some of the other things that you do besides 501c3s and how people can reach you?
So yes, my name is Sharetta, and I am calling myself your idea connector. And my business, one of my businesses is Idea Connections, and what we do is giving you the tools and strategies that you would need to bring your vision to life. So as far as planning and goal setting, or even if you have a nonprofit and you want to set up a strategic plan for it, those are some things that we can help you with, along with credit restoration and credit repair is another area that I work in.
All
And
right.
if you'd like to get in touch, you can always email me at info@your idea connector. On Facebook, Idea Connections, you can message me, and the website is yourideaconnector.com.
All right. That's the lady that's multiplying her talents. Did anybody else have a question? Thank you, Sharetta.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Mr. Aretha, this is
Yes.
Jean Giles. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Jean. How are you? Jean,
How I'm well. How are you this morning?
good.
I'm sorry I
That's okay. Tell
connected
everybody where
late.
you're
I got
calling
the
from.
wrong number.
That's okay.
This question may have already been answered. We're in a rural county in North Carolina. We presently have, we're 501c3, a food pantry, and we've been in operation for about 12 years now. But we have a little building that's like a beauty shop,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much food available during this COVID-19 that our building is just too small.
Mm.
So we're trying to do like a modular unit, but we're needing, first, we don't have a website, and I thought we might need funds to get a website and to do like a GoFundMe that we need a video. So I felt someone to do a video, but it's like $1,400. We don't have in our budget. So I'm
Mm.
just trying to figure out our steps to get maybe help someone get us get a video and then to do a GoFundMe. We need the building, the modular building can cost us about $40,000 is what we need.
Wow.
We
Well,
have land, but we need to get the building set up and all the things. Be up about $40,000.
okay, Jean. You that was good. You asked several questions, so I'm gonna go first back to the video. I don't know
Okay.
if you have friends that have friends that have friends that do video. Ask somebody to volunteer their time. I mean, this is their way of giving back. If you know, if you and just wait for the opportunity. Everybody has a cell phone, so everybody can use their own phone to create videos and so post it on social media. Now I know you wanting a professional one, and
Right, a quality.
you do
Right.
need a quality professional one. But continue to ask
Uh-huh.
around. I'm sure you're probably connected to some churches. Ask if they have somebody in their church that will do a video for you as a donation. Tell them they can write off on their taxes. And second, the question about expanding your food pantry. There are, and I know you probably want to be at your current location, but there are a lot of buildings that are closed. There are a lot of businesses that are closed. Maybe you want to partner with them to use their space for now until you raise the funds to build on your land. And I do want to ask you this because this is, and you didn't say this, but what I see with a lot of nonprofit, they're always giving and giving and giving and giving, but they're not doing anything to generate any income. And just because you're nonprofit does not mean you cannot make a profit. So if you want to raise $40,000, you have to think of a way to generate income to raise that money if you want to just stay on your land. So that's just some of the things that
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking of now. As I'm speaking, you may have some questions. Do you have any questions about what I just said?
Yeah, because I've sent out letters, and it's a very small town, Aretha, and there are buildings there. We've approached people, and it's like the attitude of, it's mine, it's inheritance. I don't want to rent it out or let you all use it. There are buildings in our area. We tried that avenue with them, but it seems to be some kind of family connection to these buildings that they won't let you rent them out. That seems unusual, but and then I've done a letter sending things out asking people we know, and we do have some partners that are consistently. So I've gone that avenue starting in September, just sending out letters, all of us asking the board members to send out letters, telling them what we're doing. So that I have tried, and just I just trying those things we've tried. We've done fundraising like ticket raffles and plate sales. We've done that. So we're just trying to check every avenue we can to get these funds. And
Okay.
a couple of grants I did apply for. Should hear about in October, but they don't seem to be about helping with building more hands-on services. Pragmatic funds seem to be available, not to help with the building thing.
And that's what you should focus on. You said one key thing. I'm going to go to two things you mentioned. First, the grant. When you're applying for a grant,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're right. A lot of them are not giving grants for you to build a building. Then you have to focus on your
Mm-hmm.
program. So if you find a grant, focus
Mm-hmm.
on your program rather than the money to build a building. Okay. because the funder, they want to see a
Uh-huh.
return on their investment, and they don't see a return on their investment by a building sitting. They see a return on investment in lives, when you change lives, when you're feeding people with the food. And then second of all, going back
Uh-huh.
to the people that you've asked for donations from. When as I was listening
Uh-huh.
to you, I was thinking, and you said you've done fundraising with raffles and things like that. But what can you do
Yes.
to generate income besides the fundraising or raffles? For example, I know one food pantry, they opened a thrift store, and I know you're saying you don't have space for that right now. But what can
Right.
you
That's
do?
right.
What can you do? There is something that you can do to generate steady income, weekly income, daily income to come in. So that may be something you can think about, and then maybe something we can talk about one on one. But I have a grant that's available
Okay.
for you to apply, and this grant you can do whatever you want to with it. You can use it for your building, whatever. Go to grantwritingschool.org, download the
Grant
grant,
writing.
grantwritingschool.org, download the grant,
Uh-oh.
fill it out. The deadline is October 16th. So everybody that's on this
Okay.
call, you have 10 more days. I get calls every day, even on weekends, and about grants, but only two people have filled out the grant application. So my question is,
Okay.
you cannot, yeah, you cannot stop applying. When you get a no,
Right.
you can't get discouraged, and even the people in your hometown, you can't get discouraged, and you have to continue
Uh-huh.
to ask. You have any more questions?
I'm good. Thank you, Sister Rita.
You're welcome.
It's grantwritingschool.org,
.org.
right?
Yes. So, and
Okay.
also
Logging on.
sign up on the front page, so you'll hear about any upcoming events we're having. We're going to have this conference call every Monday, so this is a great opportunity for you to come on. We're also going to
Oh,
do it,
good.
yeah, every
Okay.
Monday, and then also Monday night for people who work during the day that can't come on.
Okay. Because Sister Yvonne shared it with me. I really appreciate her sharing this with me. So
Okay,
thank you.
awesome, awesome,
Okay.
awesome. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Aretha, this is Brian in Missouri. How are you today?
Brian, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, can you speak to your upcoming grant writing masterclass? Is that all one day or is it 2 days? I saw 7 hours, but then I thought it looked like I found 9 to noon. So I'm just trying to get a little clarity in
So,
regards to your grant writing masterclass.
yeah, so we just did one last weekend, and the next one's gonna be, I think it's October 17th. After doing that class, what I was doing with that class, it was going to be an all day class, but it was a bit much. And then it was going to be like two months of training, 1 hour training. But from the last weekend when we did that class, we decided to break it up. So we're just going to do 3 hours, and then everybody will break off and do their one on one with me, because I find that much better, because everybody has different needs. And so, for example, just the other day, I did a one on one with somebody who took the class last week. And what I do, I record those one on one sessions, because when you're writing and thinking at the same time, it's hard for you to write it all down. So I record those and send you the recording. So it's going to be 3 hours as a group. We'll go through the grant writing tools book that's only available during the class, and then after that you'll meet one on one with me for two sessions, two 1 hour sessions.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Hey, and Brian, everybody that's on the call, Brian, you're in Missouri. Brian took my certified nonprofit consultant class years ago. Must be more than 6 years ago. So, Brian, what have you been doing? And tell everybody what you do.
Great, thank you. What haven't I been doing? I don't know. Primarily, when I took the class, I did use the what I learned to assist some upstart uh, nonprofits, especially churches. That was a lot of our work was getting churches that wanted to start something aside from their church as a nonprofit to do outreach services, like we just heard, like food pantries and some others. So when I first took the training, I was able to do quite a bit with that. The last couple of years, I've unfortunately been focusing on my own nonprofit as it's been growing. Um, leaps and bounds and new projects added. It's required a lot of my time to just focus on running it and making all the connections that's needed. So I really haven't had a chance as much lately to help some upstarts, but hopefully going into 2021, I like yourself. I get the same call, and I think people think writing a grant's kind of like magic. You can just sit down and do it.
That's
And
right.
I'm glad to hear you're doing this type of training because I believe in, like yourself, the more I can pour into what God has given me and to others, that allows God to pour more into me. But I try to tell people, I'll show you everything I know, and you take it and run with it, and I'll help you. But as far as having time to just sit down and write grants for people, I'm not a grant writer like that. So I'm glad to see this set up so that I can now forward people to your business here, and they can learn to do it for themselves. Because then that way you can do it when you need it. You don't have to depend on someone else and their time, and you can put your own team together. And that's really what I'm really more so promoting is, people not just approaching it, but try to find a team, maybe 3 to 5 people that you could put together as a team to help you write your grants. And then you can do them at any time. So, yeah, I just, trying to get back into it, hopefully the first of the year. But right now, I'm just, running our own nonprofit and keeping it moving forward, with some new innovative practices. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, that's excellent. And you just said something that I always tell people to try to create a grant writing team. And that's very important. And you since you help food pantries, and I know you work for large nonprofits, can I share your information with Jean, and maybe you can give her some tips with her food pantry?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
However I can.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Jean, I will share your information with Brian, and you guys can talk. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else have a question or a comment?
Can you hear me, Aretha?
Yes, I can.
Hi, my name's Avon Hambrick, and I'm in Wildwood, Florida.
Hi, Avon.
And thank you for the session, Aretha.
You're welcome.
My question got answered from Brian, so but I did want to just go ahead and comment because I was wrestling with whether to take the grant writing course or the grant writer nonprofit consultant. So that helped me a lot with what Brian just said because I guess I had to come see I'm not a grant writer. That part is probably not for me. So it just helped me make my decision which direction to go in terms of grant writing versus being the consultant for nonprofits.
Well, I'm glad. And can I say this though? I believe that every nonprofit should take the grant writing class because, like I said, you have to be ready because you're going to need a grant writer. And in order for a grant writer to flow, you got to give them something to flow with. And the more you have for them, the less it's going to cost you because they don't have to spend hours pulling things out of you and making things up. And, so the more you have written down a plan for them to flow from, then, it's better for you. But I'm glad either way, it's something that are a tool that you can use in the community. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah, and let me clarify. I just want to make sure, I'm sorry, but what I was really trying to tell people, I'm not a grant writer by trade. It's not my profession. So that when people normally ask me, can I write a grant for them? It's not my profession, but I do have to do grant writing for my organization, and that's why I'm saying everybody should get them a team trained, and you'll have a team of grant writers. And then, as you said, you won't have to reach out to a quoted professional grant writer that you have to pay because you have that tool and that team right inside your own organization. So I'm sorry, I may have been unclear, but I just want to let people know, like I said, I'm not a grant writer. I do grant writing. I do quite a bit of grant writing, but it's not my profession that I live by.
Okay. So it still helps me then now to make the decision. So after what you just told me, Aretha, is to get that knowledge for myself so that I can have some, okay, I know what to do now.
Yes, exactly. And even when the grant writer is looking for a grant, you can kind of help them and say, okay, no, this grant is not for me. Don't waste your time looking over there. So you can work as a team with the grant writer as well, even if you don't do the grant writing. So,
Okay, got it.
all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is Adele. Can I make a comment real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just want to tell everybody who are looking at grants or looking for grant writers what will help their grant writer. And I know because I used to write grants in the past, is if you have a business plan, because the business plan has a lot of information in it that outlines probably what that grant may be looking for. So you won't have to keep going back and forth, or the grant writer going back and forth to you, asking you a lot of questions. Um, they may have to ask some questions when it comes down to the financials, but for the most part, if you have a business plan and you keep that business plan updated, then it helps the grant writer out.
That's a good point. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
This is Jean, Sister Aretha. I'm here and I probably need to register for this class on the 7th, I'm thinking.
Okay. All right.
That's November the 7th, yes, okay.
Okay. All right. And you all make sure you register for the conference on October 24th. If you apply for the grant, that's when we're going to announce the grant winner. Anybody else have any questions? Audrey, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Aretha. Good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Audrey. Audrey is another certified nonprofit consultant, but before she even did that, she is a bookkeeper, accountant, right, Audrey, for nonprofits. This is what she specializes in. So I think we're going to have a call just on this because this is where a lot of nonprofits get in trouble. So Audrey, did you have a question or comment?
Well, I just want to say I'm glad to hear the information concerning the grant writing. Even though I took a course many years with you, I believe it was back in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And well, actually, that's where I completed the certification course in 2009 with you. And grant writing has never been of great interest to me because I felt like it was a lot of paperwork. I could provide your financial piece, but I didn't want to get into all the ins and outs of the main crux of it. But I get asked all the time, do you do grants? Do you do grants? Especially when I'm doing the 501c3. And then they want to know, can you recommend someone? So I'm glad to hear about this, and I'm going to be sending some of these people to the conference because I think it's going to be helpful for them. And I probably just need to update myself on some of that information. I've continued to do the 501c3. I do about two or three a year, just by word of mouth. But right now I'm working on getting up a website so that I can focus on it a little more. And again, my background is accounting, and I also do the 990. I do that part of it. So I'm more geared towards anything that's IRS involved, I guess you would say. But that's basically it.
Well, since you do the 990 is very key. Now, before, a long time ago when you did your 501c3, you didn't have to do the 990 if you didn't make a certain amount. But now everyone has to do the 990. So would you share your contact information if anybody's interested in a 990?
Sure. My contact information is I give you my email address. It's FOLSON, which is my last name, Fulton, dot Audrey, AUDREY, C, as in Charlotte, at yahoo.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I just got a text from Dr. Boyd. Dr. Angela, are you on the line? Dr. Angie, are you on the line? If you are, press star six.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm on the line. Is it okay to speak now?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aretha, for sharing these conference calls. I just believe that so often we don't know how to get information or where to go. And so I'm excited that you are offering your services, but more than anything, it is it's information that you don't mind sharing, but also helping us to know what to do, not just paperwork, but giving us direction. And so I'm thankful that she's been to Virginia numerous times, and definitely it's been a very good support. And all I can say is if you need her to come to your state, please have her to come because she makes a great difference in your business and helping you to get moving a lot quicker than some other people. So thank you, Aretha, for sharing this information. It's been very helpful to several other people.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the line. It means a lot to me. I admire you so much, and thank you for that comment. Well, the beautiful thing now, I don't have to travel. We can do everything virtually. So,
Exactly.
yes, that's the beautiful thing. So, if
Exactly.
you all even want to host a fundraiser, a nonprofit fundraiser on grant writing or starting your nonprofit 501c3, that is something I'm willing to do and share the proceeds with you. So that's what Dr. Angie has asked me to do many times, and we've done that I don't know how many years. So,
Yes.
yes. Anybody else have any questions or comments? This has been wonderful. I didn't even think we were going to be on the line this long, but I love it. This is really what I love to do, and I love helping people. So, and you help everybody else when you ask questions. So please, if you want to come back on at 8 o'clock tonight, come back on because we'll be back here again at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anybody else have questions or comments? All right, then. Well, I'm going to close the caller queue. I'm going to wait for about 30 more seconds. See if anybody else have any questions or comments.
Hi, I'm Linda, and I'm from Brooklyn.
All right.
I actually have some questions. I actually have some questions about what you're offering as far as your nonprofit packages.
Okay. So this is for people who haven't done their paperwork. We do all the legal paperwork. We incorporate you, get your EIN, do your bylaws, and your 501c3 application. And I don't know if you've
Mm-hmm.
started the process or where you are in the process.
I already have my EIN number,
Okay.
and it's literally everything else that I would need.
Okay.
So I just wanted to kind of get an idea of like the cost of like how much it would be for you to help me along with it.
It depends on how much you've done, and we could talk about that one-on-one. If you go to multiplyingtalents.com, you'll find my information. How did you find out
Mm-hmm.
about me? About the call tonight?
Through through my friend Therese.
Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. Therese just applied for the grant, and I just met her just recently.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, so go to the website Multiplying Talents, or even grantwritingschool.org will lead you to the website, and my information is on there. You can fill out, the contact me form, and then I will give you a call.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Press *6 and the number 1 if you have a question. Tonight is all about you. I want to answer your question. I know this is about grant writing, but I want to answer any questions that you have about nonprofits. This is the perfect time to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to unmute the person here. 1 second. Okay, caller ending in 2128. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Therese. I'm calling from New York City. My
Hi.
nonprofit is Yes Girls Create INC. We have been up and running for 2 years, and so I'm already set up from a basic standpoint. The question I have for you probably is really related to the funding part of it, in terms of we do a lot of fundraisers, and there's some membership dues, but where I find that need the most focus is related to grant writing and any other non-loan type items
to help continue to fund the activities and basically so it doesn't have to be a course for the kids.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm proud of you for fundraising. A lot of people are scared of fundraising, and you mentioned that you were 2 years old. So that's really when you are a small nonprofit or young nonprofit, if you will, that's really where most of your money is coming from. And it's great if you would keep uh, really good records of where the money came from. So you report on your 990s because now you get ready to go into year three, and funders are definitely going to be looking at your 990. So you're at the stage where you definitely need to be looking into learning how to write grants, learning how to prepare to, even if you don't want to write the grants, to find a grant writer, but you need to be ready so you can give that grant writer the information they need so they can flow and make your grant writing successful. I hope I answered your question.
You did. One other quick question. So as it
Okay.
relates to like all the different tax forms, I mean, the 990, like I did fill one out for last year, but we were basically just, at a low profit, no profit actually area.
Hmm.
How does that work in terms of when you're submitting? Is that just for like IRS filing kind of information or
That's a great
anything that I need to be, I keep all my receipts and stuff, but I just want to make sure that I have everything covered.
That is a great question. The 990, it's called Form 990 for those of you listening who are haven't started your nonprofit yet or you have started your nonprofit. The 990 is an information form. So all of us do taxes. We have our 1040 and other forms that we do for our for-profit sides or our personal businesses. So your nonprofit has to have a tax form too, even though you don't pay any taxes. Remember, you're tax exempt. So the 990 is called an information form. And so once you reach a certain level or you start getting money in, a lot of other funders will start looking at your 990 because they want to see who else invested in you, who else trusted you with their money. And it just kind of opens you up to getting more funding. So that's what the 990 is for, Therese.
Oh, okay.
Great question. Great
That's
question.
helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Caller ending in 2803, state your name and where you're calling from. You're unmuted now. Caller 2803.
Yeah, hi, sister. This is Jean. I was just listening back in. This is Jean Wooten Down.
Okay.
So I was just listening back in this evening.
Okay.
So we talked. I was trying to remember. So I was just listening back in this afternoon.
Okay. You don't have a question?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
You're gonna.
Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Press *6 and the number 1 if you want to be in the caller queue. I see somebody else is in the caller queue. One moment. Caller ending in 8606. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Luan. I'm calling from Orlando.
Hey, Cynthia, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. My question is regarding the grant writing. I heard a little bit. I came on just a few moments later, but question, and I know when writing a grant, it takes time. Is there like a specific time frame, or is every grant different as far as the deadlines when you would receive a grant? Because most times people become impatient. Well, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? So what do we say?
That's a good question. A lot of times on the funders request, they have a timeline. They'll tell you this grant will be awarded. Say you apply for it in March. They'll tell you this grant will be awarded in October. And if it's not on there, then you could call them because there's a contact number for you to call to find out that information. So the timing is based on the funder.
Great. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Aretha.
And Lawan is one of the certified nonprofit consultants. She took the course a long time ago. So what else are you doing, Lawan, besides 501c3s in the community?
Doing 501c3s and helping right now to update any organization, but right now I'm helping a lot of churches because a lot of churches are they're not aware of the 990. Even though we don't have to pay the taxes, they are still unaware that they need to make sure that that form has been completed.
Well, I'm glad
as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that because Churches do not have to file the 990 unless they have some unrelated business income. And so we'll talk about that's a whole nother session. That might be our Saturday session. Our Saturday section, we really get deep into, the the nuts and bolts. Right here is just, the beginning stages, but we will really get deep into it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if you have a question, press *6 and the number 1. I'm going to go to this person. 1 second. Caller ending in 7461. State your name and where you're calling from.
Rosetta Jackson,
Hi, where are you calling from?
St. Louis, Missouri. I was on earlier,
Oh, okay.
and
Okay, great.
none of them happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a question. So my problem, I have all of my documentation. I am a 501c3. I have all of my EIN number. My problem is finding a grant writer.
Okay, and you said you have your 501c3, right?
Yes, I have everything, but I need a grant writer,
Okay.
and I don't know how to find one. I've been asking around, and it's like everybody's like, well, I know somebody. Well, this person don't write no more, so I need a grant writer.
Okay. Well, that's something that I can help you with. I can sit down and talk with you about your, first of all, getting you grant ready, because I don't know if you have ever written a proposal for yourself, or you have a business plan or anything for your nonprofit.
Yeah, so we've written several grants and got denied. So I'm like, I know it's verbiage and other things that go with the grant. And right now, we just need some help.
Well, you're halfway there. If you've already written grants before, you're halfway there. Did they tell you, if you weren't awarded, did they tell you what you did wrong, and did you ask them what you could have done better?
Yes, so we have a read and tutoring program. So because we were operating with the public school system, a lot of them felt that maybe we could have went through the public school system. So it was like stuff like that. And then the other grant that I got denied, I applied for it twice. And every time we got denied, they kept adding stuff to what they wanted us to add to the grant.
Okay.
So I just really didn't know what the issue was with that.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times that will happen, and it's only for your benefit. If they've even taken the time to tell you what else you need, that means you'll probably be a good candidate in the future. And I'm glad you mentioned what you do. You mentioned tutoring. Now that we're in a virtual world, you will definitely have to pivot. And so that's something we're going to be talking about at the nonprofit conference, how the nonprofit pivots for the next 5 years, because we're in a totally different world, and we're not going to go back to where it used to be. So that's something I definitely hope you come to, and reach out to me on grantwritingschool.org. Just send me your contact information, okay?
It's grantwritingschool.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next caller ending in 7282. State your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hi, hello. God bless you all. My name is Rafael Castro. I'm calling from Haines City, Florida.
Okay. How'd you find out about us? This Haines City is near my
Yes, sir.
hometown.
Yeah, okay. Well, I found out from Ms. Audrey Folsom.
Okay, awesome.
She has been a blessing to us, and she had invited us to come on tonight. And so I just wanted to say that also my wife and I, we have a 501c3, a Christian ministry, and we did a lot of work in the city of Orlando with recreation and baseball, a lot of sports tournaments. And prior to the COVID, we was really full swing. We had a lot of teams ready, but because of the COVID, we wasn't able to use the recreational facilities and things of that nature. But my heart has shifted towards the real need in the community, which is the food uh, disparity. And so my question is, how can we obtain sponsors and or donations or grants for food distribution? Because I kind of know the organizations to reach out to, but my understanding is you need to have substantial funding, not a great amount, but a substantial funding to purchase at a lower rate the meals to distribute. And so for a location, maybe to get a sponsor to say like rent that location, come in agreement with a sponsor or a donor to work together, as you guys mentioned earlier, and work with the community. So I guess what I'm saying is I want to see how I could become a food distributor as a not-for-profit for other not-for-profits and also for the community.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people who are doing that here in Orlando. I'm going to write your number down and reach out to you because there's a lot of things that you have to do for a food pantry, and I know
Right.
Sister Jean is on here, and you probably know too. You got to definitely have the space for it, and then also, I don't know what food would you be
hmm
connected with the food bank here in Orlando since you're in Haines City, or do you have one close to you in Haines City?
Well, like this is what happened when I was in Orlando. I used to deal with the Second Harvest,
Mm-hmm.
but now since I'm in Haines City, the Second Harvest doesn't provide for people in Haines City. So I've been attempting to reach out to Feeding America and of course the USDA. But of course, I had a location, but prior to the COVID, it didn't pan out. So we're waiting for the opportunity to get a location. So I do know that that's part of it. You need a location.
Right.
But I wanted to kind of figure out how to get the funding to provide the meals to the community. Or am I looking at it in a wrong way? Or is there a way with the Feeding America or say USDA will provide you the meals?
Yes, they will provide you the meal if you have the capacity for it, and that's what you have to show them. So yes, you were kind of saying it backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of looking for funding to do it, you have to show them capacity to do it, and then yes, they do provide it. I mean, because the nonprofits here, they get so much that they can't even handle it. And so I wrote your number down. I'm gonna put you in touch
Right.
with an
Thank you.
organization. You're welcome. Here that they always have excess, more than enough. They're looking for people
Okay.
to give food to, and so maybe you can partner with them.
Amen. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you. God bless you. And
Okay.
uh, we're going to continue to join in, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Everybody who's on the line tonight,
Okay. Thank you.
I know you're welcome. I know everybody is in need of funding. There's a $1,000 easy grant. Go to grantwritingschool.org. Even though it says it's for $1,000, you don't know what's going to happen between now and October 24th. The conference is October 24th. The deadline to apply for this grant is 10 days. 10 more days. You only have 10 days. And October 16th will be the last day to apply for it. So make sure you apply for this grant. Again, it's at grantwritingschool.org. If you have a question, please press *6 and I'll put you back into the caller queue. I think Audrey is on. I would love for Audrey to come in, and because she is a an accountant that specializes in 990s, and we talked about 990s a little earlier. So I see somebody else. Therese, did you have another question? Because you are unmuted.
It was just really related to making sure, filing the right tax papers and understanding, the ins and out of, of, oh, actually, one other difference, sorry about the background noise, was about being a fiscal sponsor as a nonprofit.
Yes, you definitely need to speak with Audrey. I'm going to put Audrey in touch with you, okay? And that's what she does, bookkeeping, and she'll give you a free consultation, I'm sure, because I think you're at the point where you need to talk about that with her. This is what she does, okay? I got your number and I'll pass it on to her. Okay?
That's great.
All
All
right.
right, thank you.
Great. Caller ending in 5450. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hello. Hi, that's Linda
Hi, Linda.
from Brooklyn.
Hi. How are you?
I asked my question already. I already sent you an email with my contact information.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll mute your call then.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Audrey, are you on the line?
Yes,
Okay. So
yes, I am.
you
I
hear
thought someone was asking a question.
we hear a lot about 990. So tell us about the 990. How important the 990
Yes.
is.
The 990, good evening to everyone. And again, my name is Audrey Folsom. I have a background as an accountant as well as being a certified nonprofit consultant through the wonderful Aretha many years ago. As far as the 990 goes, it's important that you do file it the fifth month after you become a nonprofit. And the way it works, she mentioned earlier that churches do not have to file this form. The 990 is an IRS form unless you reach a certain amount of income during the year outside of that, unrelated income. It is important if you are a charitable organization and not necessarily a religious organization that you do file it. There are those that do search out who has filed a 990, and as Aretha was saying, they're also looking to see who else has invested in you. The form is it's not a very complicated form, but it is something you just don't do. You know, you may say, I don't do a 990. Then you would contact a person like myself who does them. And it does require very basic information, particularly if you have, even if you have under 50,000, you still would need to file the form as well. And again, it is required by the IRS.
Okay, thank you so much. If you have a question again, I see a lot of people in the caller queue. Press *6 and number 1 to come out of the caller queue and then come back into the caller queue. Because a lot of people, I know they said they've already asked a question, but now I see a lot of questions, hands raised. So I want to make sure that we get them. Let me go back to this number. Caller ending in 7282. Did you have a question or comment? Okay.
Hello?
Okay, yes. Did you have another question?
Yes, I spoke to you earlier.
Okay. All right. So what I want to do is just encourage everybody to go to grantwritingschool.org. Make sure you sign up for the conference call. We're going to do them every Monday, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. And make sure you sign up for the Grant Writing School conference. Apply for the grant. Like I said, download the grant application. It's a grant application. If you've never written a grant, it's a great tool for you to use. It's a win-win. You get to fill out your grant application. You get to use that information on future grants. So, why not use it? You have a template for you to go by. Why not use it? I think that is it for me. I'm going to open the call queue one more time. If you have a question, press *6 and the number 1. Caller ending in 7461. State your name and where you're calling from again.
This is Rosetta Jackson again. I think I asked all the questions that I needed to ask. One thing that we are doing that the young man mentioned earlier, we are servicing the families with food. We service between 250 to 300 families once a week with food. and we partnered up with another organization, but we need our own space. So we definitely need to get some grants and some funding rolling in. So I'm just excited to connect with you to see like what we can do and how I can just continue to grow.
Well, that's great information you just shared. When you said you partnered up with another organization, so what do you do? Do you go and you work out of their location?
Yes.
Okay, but people know it's your
So
organization.
right. So he closed things down because it's like more of a community center. So he was doing things for the community. But when the COVID-19 hit, you know, he couldn't operate like that. So we've been doing food since March for the families. And he let me know that next year, the beginning of the year, that we're going to definitely need our own space.
Wow.
So we've been really looking and trying to get the funding in to help us with that.
That is great. I want you to do a couple things. I want you to take a lot of pictures. I want to do video. It doesn't have to be professional video. It could be video on your phone, post it to social media. And I want you to have every volunteer sign in because every volunteer hour is worth $26.50. That is part of the matching grant. So if you get a RFP for a matching grant and they say, we'll give you $5,000, but you have to find the other $5,000. There's your $5,000 for every volunteer that you have. That's worth $26.50. So imagine if they volunteer 100 hours within a couple months, you've already added up your $5,000.
Okay.
Okay, so make sure.
Okay, so that's one thing that's all we do is take pictures and videos, so that is a no-brainer.
Okay,
I got all of that.
great.
So, okay.
All right. Okay, then. Well, I'll be talking to you. Well, I hope this was helpful for everybody. I want to thank you for joining the call tonight. Come back again on Monday. It'll be a different topic, different subject. And always, I want to know what you're thinking and what you want to talk about. So make sure you inbox me on grantwritingschool.org and have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All participants are muted.